success. And I think if we would have had an umbrella like a Universal, I think we could have expanded even more on what we did, because we had, I had a ton of ideas about some things that I wanted to do. But I felt that the foundation that we laid at No Limit Records, and then working with all these different artists and doing compilations and doing projects like the Down South Hustlers and West Coast Bad Boys, it was a good opportunity. I mean, there was a time when we were trying to work with Cash Money when I was at No Limit. I was, trying to do a deal with those guys at Cash Money to do a distribution deal where Cash Money Records would come out through No Limit. And, that's one of those things where, Cash Money decided not to come through No Limit and work with us, and they did their own thing with Universal. And Windy Day set those guys up with a huge deal that was some next level stuff, and they were fortunate to take that and run with it.
They were going to go with No Limit. How deep were you guys in the talks with Cash Money? Because they had a huge base in New Orleans, and what made them go elsewhere?
Well, I can't really speak from their perspective, but we were, we had multiple conversations with them. Servon actually is the one kind of connected all of us about, and we sat down a couple times and talked about doing some stuff and doing a distribution deal. And we talked about, hey, we've got a really large distribution arm. Let us work with you guys. I connected those guys with Windy Day. Like, Windy Day had never really knew who they were, and I connected them with Windy Day. I connected DJ Screw with Windy Day. And so I don't know how close we were, to be honest with you guys. But I know, we had those conversations, and it was kind of like, my conversation with those guys, like, look, if we got together, we could take over the entire industry. Like, there would never be a need for a major label. We could do some really incredible things. And I can't really say why they didn't do it. Part of that is they wanted to have their own vision and do their own thing. And I'm sure when you talk about Baby and Slim and P and myself and what we thought way things should go and what they thought things should go, sometimes people don't get on the same page. So they a few months later went to Universal and got a really huge deal, and now that they've blown up and everybody knows who they are and what they're doing. I mean, I'm not for sure if they would have signed with No Limit, would they have had the same success they've had now? I mean, it's hard to say. Probably not. But because they went and ventured out on their own, they've been huge in what they've done, and people know who they are, and they've had a big, Cash Money had their own movement, right? So it's a little bit different if Cash Money is underneath No Limit and Cash Money doesn't have their own movement. They're part of the No Limit movement, right? That's what people would think, even though they have their own sound or they're doing something different. If they're underneath a No Limit umbrella, which is underneath a Priority umbrella, they are, first you're cutting into the piece of the pie, right? They're not making the most that they can make. That's first and foremost. The second is